The reigning national champions come in at number 7 in our way too early top 25. And the Michigan Wolverines are going to look very, very different in 2024. Jim Harbaugh is gone, off to the NFL to be the head coach of the Chargers. J.J. McCarthy is gone at quarterback. Blake Corum, gone. The majority of the offensive line, gone. Handful of defensive starters, gone. This is going to be a completely new look Michigan team heading into this season. And right now, we're not really talking about them potentially repeating as national champions. If you're a Michigan fan with this tough of a schedule, you have to wonder, are you even going to make the 12-team playoff in 2024? So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. Ready to break down Michigan's schedule for this upcoming season. We're not predicting wins and losses today, although that will be here before you know it. All the more reason to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, hit that notification bell, and check out everything down in the description below, including our website, thegridironexpert.com, to stay up to date on everything we're doing here at the channel, talking college football with you 24/7, 365, the season never dying, never ending here at the Gridiron Expert. So Michigan, guys, this is still a good team. Clearly, they're a top 10 team in our eyes. And they did a great job, I thought, handling the departure of Jim Harbaugh. You know, we kind of had a feeling that he was going to leave when the season ended, whether Michigan won the national championship or not. He did. They give the job, promote internally to Sharon Moore, the offensive coordinator who led Michigan down the stretch last year. You know, helped lead the team to wins over Penn State and Ohio State when Harbaugh was serving his suspension. So I thought that was a phenomenal hire. The players played really, really hard for him. He clearly cares about this program, cares about his players. And it's still going to be a Michigan team that is in contention for the playoff. They still are going to be in contention for a Big Ten title. But they have a lot of key pieces they got to replace. And they've got a schedule that is not as much of a cakewalk as it was last year. Just go ahead and take a look at it. The first 6 games for me are really, really difficult. And, you know, if you had to pick a key stretch of the season, a key group of games, it would probably be that first half. You know, I know many people would expect them to take care of business against Fresno State, Arkansas State, and Minnesota. And keep in mind that Michigan does not leave Ann Arbor until the first week of October. So the entire first month of the season, their first 4 games, all at home for first 5 games. First 5 games all at home for Michigan, which is massive. I mean, not really heard of that often either. So first 5 games at home, and one of those is against Texas. A game that, you know, very well could have been the national championship last year. Texas was so close to beating Washington. We were a couple plays away from a Michigan-Texas national championship. And now the Longhorns have returned Quinn Ewers and returned so much talent, and who we've yet to talk about in our way too early top 25, clearly showing they were above 7th, has to come. And this is going to be a really, really fun game. It's going to be a true test. What's this Michigan team made of? Fresno State, they get to work out the kinks. They get to kind of figure out all the new pieces. Well, then Texas comes to town. You don't have time to work things out. You don't have time to figure things out. And ironically, I'm not trying to draw too many comparisons here, but this reminds me a lot of kind of Alabama situation last year. You know, if you recall, Alabama entered the year with so many new pieces on both sides of the ball, questions on both sides of the ball, questions at quarterback. They took care of Middle Tennessee, then played Texas at home in week 2, and really weren't up to par, and Texas ended up winning that game by 10 in Tuscaloosa. So could we see the Longhorns, who are going to be more of a well-oiled machine and have way more experience than the Wolverines, could we see them do the same thing this year? Taking on a Michigan team that still isn't quite up to par, comes into Ann Arbor and steals a win. So that Texas game is going to be massive. Then they got to play USC a couple weeks later. USC, we're not quite sure what to expect from them. Caleb Williams is gone. Lincoln Riley's got to fix a lot of stuff, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Getting that game at home, big, and USC's first year in the Big Ten, but still not going to be an easy task. And then to close out that 6-game stretch, on the road at Washington in a national championship rematch. Michigan obviously won 34-13 down in Houston, but Washington kind of in a similar boat as Michigan, losing practically the entire team that helped the Huskies get to the national championship. They lose their head coach, Kalen DeBoer, leaving to go take the job at Alabama. So 2 teams that are going to look nothing like they did when they met in Houston back in January. Who's able to emerge with that victory in what's going to be a crucial Big Ten conference game? So you look at that first 6-game stretch there, guys. If you're Michigan, you're hoping to go at least 5-1. You know, because Texas isn't going to be easy. USC isn't going to be easy. The road game at Washington isn't going to be easy. If they survive that stretch 6-0, that's really, really impressive. I mean, it really is, because I'm not quite sure they can do it. They've got to hope to be at least 5-1 or 6-0 heading into their first bye week. And the reason we say that is because you look at the last half of their season, it's really coming down to 2 games. They're going to be favored against Illinois. They're going to be favored against Michigan State, who they beat 49-0. They'll be favored against Indiana, a new coach, who they beat 52-7. They'll be favored at home on senior day against Northwestern off a week of rest. But it's that game against Oregon and Ohio State. 2 major conference games. They're going to be so tough for the Wolverines. And here's the thing, if Michigan does get up to par, if they do play and maybe exceed expectations, you could see them at undefeated when they play Ohio State. You might see them as only a 1-loss team when they play Ohio State. And we've seen that story so many times before where the game, the season finale, determines who goes to the Big Ten championship, who goes to the college football playoff, whatever it may be. The beauty of it is now the 12-team playoff now. It's expanded. So, there's no longer a scenario where, Ohio State and Michigan meet each other and they're both undefeated. The loser's in, or the loser's out, the winner's in. They both could get in. Those 2 teams could get in, Oregon could get in. I mean, it's such a really wild combination of scenarios that could happen this season. We'll just have to see how it plays out. But you look at Michigan again. That back half of the schedule is very favorable, more favorable than the first half of the schedule. But that road game at Ohio State looms large. The home game against Oregon looms large. And I'm going to tell you something right now. We said at the beginning of this video that the schedule is much tougher than it was last year. Last year's schedule was pretty much a cakewalk outside of the 2 big games against Penn State and Ohio State? This year it's a little bit more difficult. Texas, USC, Washington, Oregon, Ohio State. Those are the 5 biggest games on Michigan's schedule, right? Well, 3 of those are at home. Texas, USC, and Oregon, all at home. That's massive for them. Even if they lost to Washington and Ohio State, 10-2, that might still be good enough to get into the 12-team playoff. But here's the thing. I'm not predicting wins and losses today, but I'm here to tell you Michigan will lose at least one of those home games that I just mentioned. They will lose one home game to Texas, USC, or Oregon. It will happen. Many would say it's probably more, if you're picking one, it's going to come against Texas or Oregon. But the Wolverines will drop one of them, which will then add extra pressure on everything else. It will add extra pressure to that Ohio State game. It will add extra pressure to that Washington game. And add extra pressure to not slip up against what maybe would be considered an inferior Big Ten opponent like an Illinois, Michigan State, or Northwestern. The pieces could get there for Michigan. There's just so many unknowns with this Wolverines team. New coach, new players, new schemes, and a schedule that is 10 times more difficult than what they faced last year. They are a top 10 team in our eyes, no doubt about it. They are absolutely a national title contender, a playoff contender, a Big Ten title contender. But would I say they're the Big Ten favorite as of right now? Maybe not. Maybe not in a conference that still has Ohio State and now Oregon. They're definitely a top 3 or 4 team, no doubt about it. But can the Wolverines deliver? Can they maybe exceed expectations? Will they defend their national title crown? Leave your thoughts and comments below. We'll have Michigan's schedule prediction, our official prediction for the Wolverines, here in just a few months. So make sure you stay around for that. But the Wolverines, guys, are going to have quite an uphill battle to defend their title. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to leave your comments down below about the Wolverines as we near the end of our schedule previews and get one step closer to the season, one step closer to prediction season. And make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe, make sure to share the videos, hit that notification button, check out everything down in the description, including our website, thegridironexpert.com. We want you to take advantage of it, guys. Become a member of our GE Nation. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.